Welcome to Stampscapes Round Midnight Live. We're going to take a look and see what this wooded scene can look like on the wood grain paper. So we have 10 inches by 7 inches, and it's the same composition that I've done, let's say, 3 other times. The first time starting on the blue matte pre-folded cardstock, but I like the composition so much I've been trying it with different media surface combinations. All right, so this one so far will probably be the most, I would call it the simplest because, on this wood grain paper, you don't add too much color to it. I guess you could, but it would kind of defeat the purpose of it being on wood grain paper, and this is just a really cheap eating placemat paper. You can see my inks are just completely soaking through it, so it's not going to take a lot of different media on here. You can't build it up too much because just the paper is just too thin for it. But it looks really cool, and it's a really inexpensive surface to stamp on, and it takes the inks really well, and I really like the look of it because of the nature-based imagery that Stampscapes is. It just goes really well with a wood-grained paper look. Okay, so let me add in one more element in here. I thought I was all done with the composition. I haven't added this deer into all the different versions of this so far. But let's go ahead and add the deer in on this one. I've been kind of tweaking this a little bit. I've stamped the cabin a little bit higher in this one and the grass line a little bit lower just in case I wanted to put like a little kayaker in there or something like that. Okay, so little detail here is when I stamp out or ink up my deer here, I'm going to wipe off the feet a little bit. Actually, that was a little bit too much. Because if your deer is standing in some grass that's, a few inches long, it's not going to be, you're not going to see the bottom of its, hoofs or whatever. So you just wipe a little bit off. And that way it looks like it's standing in the grass as opposed to, something a little bit more solid like, hard packed dirt or, something like that. Okay? So that is going in there like that, and it becomes, a pretty strong focal point, a visual landing spot. All right, so now, the thing that I'm going to do, one of the things on this paper is, you can kind of just stamp on it and it looks pretty cool, or you can add in some shadows and things like that, but I like to, kind of create this, lighting scenario in most of my pieces. Just for me, it makes it more interesting, but I think this thing, this composition can look really good just with some shading and, with a little bit of tone, like through some colored pencils or something like that. But, okay, I like to add in, a compliment to the shadow creation, the darkening of the piece with some illumination in the wood grain paper. It's very light in general, but it is darker than white, so we can add in some white like this, and this becomes like some kind of, I don't know if it looks like more like a moon or like a dim sun in the background or something like that, maybe. You could add a little bit of yellow to it and it'd definitely look more like a sun, but my illumination in this piece is going to be done with white. So I'm just going to keep this as white because my illumination is going to represent reflected lighting. Hello, Linda, how are you? So, just a 1-inch hole punch right there, and that creates our kind of light source. And we could have put that anywhere. You can have it kind of rising up from behind the trees, and that could be really dramatic looking. More dramatic than just kind of having that orb right up in the sky like that. But I don't know, I'm just keeping this really simple, so I just stamped it where there was the most amount of space for it. Okay, so you can start with your lighting in here if you want to, or you can start with your shading. You don't have to do all of your shading. You can kind of oscillate back and forth if you want, which is what I think I'm going to do here. All right, so black colored pencil and a white pastel pencil. I'm kind of hesitating here because I'm thinking maybe what I'll do to potentially expedite this. I don't know if it will. Colored pencil's pretty fast, but let me get a... Seeing if I have a cotton ball already inked up with black, and I do here. I'm going to use the same black that I stamped out my imagery in. Pre-stamped Linda for to expedite the entire process. Everyone's seen me stamp it out. I don't know, like, I don't know if I did it on camera the second or third time. I thought, I'm going to get the composition just done first. I don't need to see me kind of doing that. Let's see. You worked on yours today. That's cool. What media did you use? Or were you doing the blue one? I know you like that. Were you, there was a blue one you liked, right? Or was it the other one? Okay, so I'm shading the side of this tree trunk. This paper is very smooth, by the way. But it's just very thin, all right? But it's a very smooth surface paper, so you can just kind of ink up like this. It's not gonna get real dark like this. But it gives it, you know, a pretty decent coat with just a little bit of ink on the cotton ball. By the way, this is a hybrid ink, but you can pretty much use just about any ink that you want on this type of paper because it is porous. You know, it's not, you know, as you can see, it's definitely porous basically because the inks soak right through the surface. So it's going to take that type of ink. Versifying Clair would be good. Dye-based inks, I'm not quite sure if the dye-based inks on the wood grain paper will give me as dark of an impression. Just because the paper is pre-printed with all that wood-grained look, you know, it's printer's ink on that wood-grain paper, so, you know, you're not stamping on, you're not applying the ink or stamping on something like, you know, a matte bare cardstock. You're printing basically on ink, or, you know, stamping on ink. Okay, so the sides of the trees, opposite the light source, are the sides of the trees that are getting darker. So this tree right here, or the two to the left, have left side shading. Dye inks with alcohol. Yeah, that's cool. Oh yeah, and the semi-gloss. I'm going to do another one of these, and I'm going to do it on the glossy cardstock in one of my favorite color schemes, which is the emerald green colored scheme. And I'm doing it on the glossy. After doing that 4th of July, I thought, that looks pretty good. You know, that glossy cardstock, I mean, there's a reason why I didn't, you know, I pretty much didn't use anything but that for, I don't know, like 30 years or something like that. Practically nothing else. It's just that super vibrancy. But I do love being able to add in the those colored pencils, though. I wish we could add colored pencils on glossy, which maybe we could, but by spray sealing it, you know, the dye-based inks down, and then getting a little bit of the, you know, the spray fixative texturing But I don't know. It's not going to look as glossy if we spray seal it with the spray fixative, the matte spray fixative, though. All right, so see, there's a bit of our shading in here. I really like my favorite cast shadow area is the dark matte cardstock here, and that shading in there, and just being able to go in with those little white little elements like that, and then the white mist like that. I almost forgot how I use this wood grain paper. I couldn't remember if I added white to it, and what width, and I don't know how I finished some pieces off. Yeah, that emerald green colored scheme, a la the Northern Lights kind of color scheme, that kind of that yellow base with a super bright, lime green glow is what I want to do. In this one, I think I'm going to put like a light source over here or something like that on the left-hand side, to the left of this center trunk. I'm going to have, I think, some beams of light coming through, like a cloud up here or something like that. And I want them coming across this way, like, a beam coming through here and through here. It's not going to have the moon in there, but I thought that could potentially be pretty dynamic. Or we can do like a Northern Lighty type of thing up there. It'd be just like a little peekaboo area in the sky, though. But something like that, I think would be pretty cool in this composition. I'm enjoying the the 10 by 7 size too. That's pretty it's a pretty nice dimension to work on. I don't know. I do that. Do I do that sometimes? No, I'm usually doing. Sometimes I'm doing 7.5 by 10. Well, I guess that's almost this size right here. But I just did this size only because of the this cardstock right here, the folded cardstock. So I'm just matching it up with that first one, just so we can more easily compare and contrast all the different techniques used on it. All right, so there's a little bit of anchoring down, shading at the base of objects, just like I shaded this at the base of that object. Now you don't have to develop it fully here, because it's just going to be easier to really tweak these. Oh, I guess we can call it kind of like a shadow base. I'm just getting like this base shadow down like that. I'm not really varying it too much. I'm trying to a little bit, just to get a quick application of this down. Ink down and darkness down, I mean. All right, let's go a little bit more. I guess that, applying this too, it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be visually noticeable from the colored pencil, but I have to think it's a little bit of a smoother kind of, application of black to this in here than a colored pencil would be. I don't know. Especially when you're applying it with a cotton ball. Cotton ball is like super, super soft. All right, so I think that is it with that ink right there. Let's go and refine it more with the black colored pencil. And again, I'm starting to kind of, as I say that, I'm also thinking, well, should I also, or should I do the highlighting now? Let's do that oscillation that I was talking about. I mean, I mentioned that you can do that, so let's do it here. So I'm going to start adding in some highlighting in here. This is a white pastel pencil. You might be asking, well, you used a black colored pencil on here. Why don't you use the white colored pencil on here? I don't know. I think the white pastel pencil, I think, applies and blends really nicely. I mean, you can use both too, but I've got a white pastel pencil and a white colored pencil. But I think my white colored pencil, out of the same set as this black one, the Prismacolors, I don't think it's as soft as the black. And also we're putting this over color here, you know, this warm color. And I find that the pastel might be a little bit more opaque than the white colored pencil. Okay. This white pastel really sits on the surface of the paper really well. Okay, so we'll want to spray seal it too, because it's not like an oil pastel. It's it's like a chalk pastel. All right, so opposite the sides of the trees, where the shading is the highlights. It might be a little bit too extreme, but we'll see how it goes. And with this, you can always remove as much of the highlighting or white pastel as you want. If you put it, apply too much, you can just take a finger and just wipe it right off, like that. See, it's on my finger right here. You can also use your fingers as really good blending tools too, to blend out your pastels like this. Or you smudge some of it off, or you can get some on your finger and, I don't know, maybe apply some that way too. Pencils don't work with the semi-gloss very well. What brand are you using, Linda? Just so I know. Oh, yours are half page. Yeah. So that would be... Wait a minute. Are you doing 5.5 by 8.5 then? You can do that. I mean, that's the size I would do, maybe, if I was doing, if I was using the rubber versions of the trunks. I would go like half page, I think. Or would that? I don't know. I don't know. Even on the half page, though, I'd have to barely bring my trees up. I don't know. I'd have to do a measurement. All right. So on the sides of the trees, facing the light, but also bottom of these rocks right here are darker, and the tops of them are lighter, like so. And in the middle is just that mid-tone, I don't know, whatever, wood-grained color. All right. So the tops of those rocks over there makes them look a little bit more dimensional. I should probably actually have some rocks right here in the foreground, some larger ones, since these are all rocks out there in the background. Yeah, I should have had some rocks right up here now that I look at it. Art Shuttle pencils. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if those are like some of my Prismacolor ones. Some of my Prismacolors are a little bit hard for the semi-gloss. Okay, one of the things I forgot to do in this grassy area right here, I was going into here to highlight, but I was thinking, okay, I didn't shade some of this area, so I'm going into my grassy area and kind of emphasizing some of these textures. This is the stamp that was used in this grassy area. It's probably stamped maybe a dozen times or so. So I'm going to emphasize, and then you know, kind of enhance the shading from the trunk here too. So in the shadow areas, you can also emphasize the those textures that are in the stamp itself. Maybe in the shaded area, those little textures in there maybe are even more darker, you know, because you know it's in a darker area, so. I'm saying in comparison to the illuminated out here, so illuminated area out here, so you can put a little bit of a, you know, kind of shadow distinction marks right in here, but then also put it in the shadow area of the tree. And I like to go pretty dark around the base of my tree because it makes it look like the tree is really anchored into the setting a lot more. Adding shadows at the base of objects gives the objects visual weight. So here's this deer right here. You know, you can anchor it down with a little bit of shading like that. Oh, so Linda, do you have some watercolor pencils? If you have a set of watercolor pencils, and those shuttle arts are too hard, try the watercolor pencils. Someone told me, and I have a set of them, they're really quite soft, but I don't have like multiple brands of it, so I don't know if it's just the brand that I have, or if it's all of the different types of watercolor pencils. Anchoring down the rocks on the far shoreline like that. And on this shoreline right here, okay, it's just like a haze of a mono value right in here. So let's create a little bit more distinction between between water and shore like that. And some of the bushes in here are receiving a little bit of that shading. All right, so see that trunk's getting a little bit more, I don't know. To me, it's getting a little bit more, it looks more present, I guess. I don't know. There's something kind of visually about it that anchors the piece down a little bit more. Let's make the base of this trunk a little bit darker to kind of mirror what's happening here with a darker base, a little bit lighter, lightest. Okay, something like that. Now, I haven't added the highlighting in here yet, and it's because I thought I needed to, I needed to add the shading in there first, I think, just to see how much I would use of this. Okay, let's go to this. Hello, Megan. How are you? Let's see, Megan. It's real late for you. It's past your bedtime, but we are glad to have you. Okay, so highlighting right in here on these bushes here. It probably wouldn't be getting some of that light, but I think it'll make the bushes look better anyway, so I'm going to do it. If something will just look better, but from whatever perspective, almost whatever perspective, just do it, you know? If it's going to make something look better, you know what I mean? If you're doing a, whatever, a sunset scene and a cloudless day or something like that, but, you know, you feel like splatter painting the piece with white or something like that, and it looks like snowfall or something like it. If it looks more dynamic and really cool, then just do it, you know. And you know, whatever the atmosphere or season police, you know, those don't exist in the scenic stamping world. I don't know, maybe some people will make a comment, but the only thing that matters is really if the piece looks kind of cool or not, or if it, you know, kind of added to the whatever the dynamics of the piece. Okay, so just kind of adding a little bit of that shoreline. That's a little bit too light over this way, maybe. Let's wipe some of that off like that. Yeah, something like that. So now it's just coming in here. That, you know, that little bit of white over there didn't add to it. It distracted. Okay, let's see. How's everyone's temperatures doing? Everyone's staying nice and hydrated? I probably am not. I need to drink probably more. Although for us, I don't know, today was a really nice day here. Now, I wasn't outside, you know, for hours or anything like that, but not too bad in comparison to a lot of other areas. All right, let's add in some highlighting in our grasses. This is a very soft lighting in here, and we'll add in some finishing touches with the paint pens. Probably just white. All right, here we go. like so. Maybe right here? Kind of adding a little, trying to do a couple little detailed, like little scumbling things, which I never really do, but I usually just leave that up to the kind of the more detailed applications for the paint pen. But I don't know. I guess if you can do things with the pencil, that might be kind of interesting. You know, that'd be kind of cool too. All right. 98. Yeah, that's getting up there. You're a good 10 degrees higher than we are. I haven't looked at the latest forecast. I'm not sure what it's going to be looking like. Later on this week. I'm checking out these pens here. I forgot. I think this one was the one that's almost out of. I'm almost out of. I can see that. I can see that ball actually in there. Hello, Jill. 111. Yeah, Apple Valley. Now that doesn't surprise me at all. $82 now. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if that was your hottest you're going to be getting there. You know, there used to be a stamp store in Apple Valley years ago. Well, I mean, I don't know. There might have been one more recent, but there used to be one that carried Stampscapes a gazillion years ago. I think the hottest place, I don't know, I didn't check some areas, but like Palm Springs I thought was darn near 120. I think it was like 118 or 19 or something like that. It was crazy. But 111 though, I don't know, for you, that area, this, I don't know, was that breaking any kind of record? Okay, this pen right here is just about out of ink. It's still going a little bit. Everyone go get a drink while watching this. I should do a waterfall, like a nice cool waterfall scene. By the way, the temperatures in this scene right here is a nice mellow 72. Fahrenheit. Some of you might want it cooler, you know. So you want it cooler, then we have this like rising up from behind the, you know, like right over the horizon or something like that. If it's a sun, then it's setting, you know, or something like that. Or if it's moon, maybe it's rising. I don't know. But that could change the whatever the representational time or temperature, you know, and thus temperature. Okay, so just adding, I'm kind of adding in these sharp, crisp highlights into kind of a small area within the pastel highlights. Okay, so anywhere there were this white, that's the white pastel pencil. And I'm just kind of like adding in a little bit of fine tuning within those highlighted or lit areas. I guess this is like lighting, okay, like this. And maybe this is like detailed highlighting or something like that. So soft lighting, sharp lighting, pastel pencil, acrylic paint pen. All right, like down here, I mean, it looks okay, but kind of adding in this a little bit more of a crisp highlight like this, it kind of brings the whole scene to life like this, in my opinion. When you make kind of your surface kind of shimmer everywhere, okay, that's what this does. And that's what, that's the type of lighting you have all around us. It might not be like super dynamic, but, there's highlighting on all of these different objects, that we're looking at, that we're surrounded by. There's the highlight right there, and, on the top of this right here, no matter what angle you put it at, there's the highlight right there, and that, and all along the length of it, on something black, there's the highlights right in here, down that whole area. So adding that into a scene is just really fun to kind of add that shimmery, detailed, reflective lighting element into a scene like that. It makes everything look so much more, dimensional that way. And you don't have to add in too many. I tend to do, add in quite a bit, but I like doing that. All of these designs kind of start off tonally with, dot by dot, black dot, pen and ink black dots, and it's kind of going like full circle, or whatever, yin and yang of, whatever the process. So it's like finishing up with that complementary but same type of mark on here. Just the opposite, black, it's white, or shading and light. All right, so there's some on my tree like that, and let's get some on this tree. We'll take a look at it and see if we've hit everything. I can't remember if I used, if I added like the misty touch into this wood grain paper or not. Alright, that looks like that. Everything is reasonably shimmery, and I'm taking a look at the scene here too and seeing if I want any more shadow areas on here. 24 Celsius. Okay, 74 high. It's cooled down, but I'm just hoping that all this heat wave isn't going to lead to a bunch of wildfires again. Okay, so here's something I don't think about a lot of times on this type of paper, but we do have colors in our colored pencil in this type of color scheme. I don't know, I guess you could potentially kind of make the color scheme, or at least the shadow areas, maybe a little bit richer. Having them an actual related hue to the scene, as opposed to just doing black and white on it, This. Let's give it a try here. So I'm just going over some more of these black inks and black colored pencil. I guess it could warm up the shadows, a little bit. And again, this is like one of those like super subtle things that we really don't need to do. But I'm curious about it, so let's test it out here. I do see the difference, though, as I apply this. It is warming up some of these shadows and making them look richer. It's just a matter of, is it changing enough to where it's really worth our time, And if it doesn't take too much time, it's just a little bit better. I think it's worth it if you have the time. There's a little bit of a warmer, lighter brown, and I'm kind of keeping it in the shaded areas right here. It is giving a little bit more depth, I think, to the trees here. But I don't want to make them look unrelated to the surrounding area, so I think it'd be good to at least add it down here too. If you want to add color down here too, you can. Sometimes I do that, but I do it very minimally on this paper. Just because I do want some of that wood grain kind of showing, and I think one of the really nice things about this paper is that you can kind of do things, kind of minimal treatments of your pieces, but still have it look really interesting, with all that wood grained texturing on the surface, kind of doing a lot of the work for us, in terms of visual interest. It's inherently a pretty interesting look, and just kind of leaving a lot of it exposed, I think, is, perfectly good way to utilize the surface, not cover it up with a bunch of different inks and everything, you know what I mean, and overwork it. So, but I think that brown in there works pretty good. You know what I mean? The trees stand out a little bit more, kind of dimensionally, and plus in these areas I got rid of all the wood grain texturing anyway. So if adding a little bit more warmth and depth helps, then it looks pretty good to do that. Hottest it's been for me was 115. And weeks had German Shepherd puppies born. Oh my God. 115, that's right up there. Yeah, that's... When I think about 115, I know it gets that hot, but I just don't remember kind of just how widespread the heat seems to be. I don't know if it's in my imagination, but I don't know. It seems like we're having kind of weather extremes all the time for one thing or another, all over the place. Just here in Southern California, remember it was like 2 winters ago, everyone up at like Arrowhead and stuff like that were getting snowed in, couldn't get out of their house for like 2 weeks, stuff like that. It was 74 Fahrenheit. Well, that's pretty good. That's what kind of it is. 70. We were like 80s, but at nighttime it's cooling down quite a bit. We open the door and it feels like a blast of cold air coming in, like it's suction or something like that. Wildfires have begun. I know in California there's some wildfires going on. I don't know where, but I was catching reports of that a little bit. New Mexico. First the fires and now the flooding. I don't think I saw that. I saw flooding somewhere else, though. I'll have to take a look at that one, Megan. Boy. Just it was like monsoon rains or something like that out in New Mexico. Pastel pencils, but not very many colors. Some of those pastel pencils, like I'd love to have a set of these Carbothellos, but anytime you start getting like the name brand stuff like Schwann's, Stabilo type of things, Winsor Newton's, all those, artist brand things, we're talking pretty expensive. So these pencils like this, you know, I just have the, I don't think I have a black one. I think I only have like a couple white ones. It was like really expensive. I don't know. It's like $3 or $4. I don't know. Maybe three, in between 3 and 4 per color in a set of, I don't know what it was, 40 pencils or something like that. No, it couldn't have been that much. I don't think it was over $100, or was it? I don't know. It'd be pretty cool though. I'm a believer in the pastel pencil with this white one right here. Like if I had a light blue on this one, you know, on this blue paper, like this color right here. Kind of my camera's like overexposing this right now. But this like really light, warm blue, like that, I think that could be pretty interesting. It's kind of the color that I did in some of these shadow areas with the acrylic paint pen in there. But like this one right here, I think that would look really cool. Or if I had like a warm version of this, like this tan color. God, everything's like totally overexposing right here. But yeah, this color, this little off-white warm one would be great in the Carbothello. So I'll have to take a look at that. Maybe I should be looking at, you know, maybe some sticks, pastel sticks. Might be kind of good too. But yeah, the Carbothellos in those big sets are, you know, what do you call it? Price prohibitive. Or I don't know. That's not it. But the Vista Fire. 20, oh my God, and the San Gabriels, don't tell me that. Oh my gosh, I hate it. I always hated it in the San Gabriels when I heard about fires in there. Because I used to go hiking all the time in Southern California. I was looking at, just up at the mountains, I used to go hiking all the time you know, during the summer times I mean, it got hot up there, but like at 7,000 feet up in Idlewild, it was like, I don't know, it was like 90 something. Of course, down below, you know, in Palm Springs, it was like 120. So, but I was surprised that it was like 90 something at 7,000 feet. You know, I was going to take my son and maybe a couple of his friends up there hiking, but you know, not in that type of heat. At that altitude. Oh my gosh, fires. So I was thinking about like fire season. They're going right now, huh? Oh my gosh. And then like Canada last year, all those fires going on up there, right, Linda? You were getting like smoke in your area for a long time, right? Color brand, 24 less than $1 each. Okay, that's not too bad. Huh. Yeah. So those would be, that's pretty cool then. Yeah, do you have a good, I'll just take a look. I was going to say, do you have a nice range? But 24, that would probably be a nice range of values and a lot of different hues there. So, yeah. For me, when it comes to the pastels, though, and the paint pens, the colors that are the most important to me are these lighter ones like that, because I'm always using them as kind of lighting within medium to darker backgrounds, usually. So hopefully in that 24 there's a good representation of you know, the different pastel hues, like light green, blue, like a tan for the browns, like a violet or something like that. I'm guessing it would if they're pastel pencils, though. But a lot of the brands of certain types of media, though, because they're a lot more exciting of a color because they can go really bright, or they're super bright toned colors. So when you look at things like these paint pens here, this is a set of 40 right here. You can almost see how I use mine. Right down here, it's like the ones at the top are the ones I'm using all the time because I replace them as I'm going. But down here, it's like a lot of the darker tones. So I don't use them like too often at all. If anything, it's like if an area is like really, really dark and I want to add like a blue star or highlight in there, then I might do a couple with these ones, but I almost never use them. So it's always these lighter toned versions of all the different hues. Those ones get a lot of work, and like these ones right here. These ones a lot of times don't even go back into the package. I just leave them out because I'm using them all the time. So I want the same from. I like the same from my other media, like alcohol markers, and in this case it would be the pastels or pastel pencils. I have stick chalks, or stick pastels. I should bust those out sometime. But I think it's like a set of 20 of them or something like that. I don't know. I should see what I have. I probably have other things that I'm just not even thinking about. Like Conte crayons or something like that. I don't know. You guys, does everyone know that you have in your supplies? We have a lot of supplies, right, as crafters that we just never use. Sometimes I like completely forget about it because it goes into storage at some point in time, and you just never like break it out because you're not really using it at the time, or it's not kind of in your repertoire of the things that you're always using. So unless I used it before, and kind of, just haven't used it for a while. Some of the stuff, and it's not that I bought it for crafting and stamping and then just didn't use it. A lot of it's like stuff that I might have bought, back when I was in school or something like that. And it might have been a requirement, but we just didn't use it very much, or one time or something like that. But it would be perfect for stamping, so I know I should go through it, like like the pastel pencil. I didn't even know it was a pastel pencil. I thought it was a white colored pencil, and so I started using it. It's like, oh, this is like a lot scratchier and softer for some reason, But anyway, yeah, we should. Yeah, we need to dip into our supplies and see what we have, and see what we can make use of it. So on this paper like this, on this wood grain paper, on the vintage papers, that pastel pencil is fantastic for that. I don't know if I've used the pastel pencil on I don't think I've used it on like a semi-gloss before. I don't know, or did I? I haven't been using it for very long, but it's like, oh, on these papers that works really good. So there's probably other stuff, in our supplies that would probably be pretty cool to work with. I don't know if I want to start busting out the charcoals though. You know what I mean? Because I don't want all that charcoal dust all over my desk here. Working with those charcoals like this. But that would be a good toning thing. But you get charcoal all over the place. To have it all over my desk. So I don't know if I want to go in that area with that. But I have a lot of those types of things like that. Wax crayons. I think I have those stick ones. And like KP from Art Foamies sent me a bunch of things like the ink tents, Derwents right here, which are not cheap. I need to use those. So when you said the wax crayons, that sounded, that made me think of that. I know these aren't wax crayons, but I don't know, I need to bust these out. All right, any of you have these? I found, when I used one of these on something before, a lot of people were mentioning that that they've used it or whatever. Are these like mixing areas like this for water or something like that? And you dip them in there and go, I don't know. But I don't know. This doesn't even have instructions on, or does it? Yeah, maybe those are instructions right here. They're all in different languages. But I don't know. Yeah, I should play around with these types of things and see how it goes. Probably, you know, kind of feebly, but but with practice, maybe it'll come around. Okay, so let's do a little comparison contrast here. Let me see. Okay, so this one was the kind of the snowy one right here. I need to do something on this one. It's missing something, maybe some tonal range up here, but I couldn't do it when I was doing this in the live stream because these were like super, super wet. So I need to make it like darker up here. I need like a gradient up here going dark to light like that. I think that's what it's missing. Or I just go heavier with the foliage of that. I mean, that would be the easiest thing. And this also hasn't been spray sealed, so you can see the alcohol ink shiny textural differences on here. And that's remedied with the spray sealant. Okay. Here we go with the warm one right here. This one has been spray sealed. You can see it, everything's kind of more uniform. The trunks really stand out, but maybe the trunks got a lot more tone with the alcohol light, you know, but you don't see like streaky alcohol marks in here. And then the blue one on the pre-folded card, maybe, I don't know, this one's the most dynamic, I think, right here. And then maybe the most basic one is this right here on the wood grain paper. And it would just look like an exercise in kind of like shading and toning had it not been stamped on the wood grain paper, which gives it that little bit more of a dynamic warmth texture to the piece. But I mean, you can do this on like a white piece of paper too. But if I did that though, I would probably take like something like this is what, now this, okay, going back to like charcoal days, this is what you do when you're working on a white piece of paper, is that we put on a chamois. That was one of your tools in art. But your chamois is it's always like all charcoaled up because you're using that to kind of like put marks back into your drawings a lot of times. So we would add a tone all in the background, giving it a kind of a mid-tone grade so that when you start drawing on there, you can add shadows, but you can also kind of use an eraser to, you know, create highlights in the piece like that. So you're not just starting off with white, you know, it's a little bit more of a neutral foundation. Not super dark, but, you know, it'd have some other textures in there, so. But anyways, I like the look of this one too, quite a bit. I like that little extra brown in there, you know, that was something new here. I don't know, maybe I've done it before, but I don't know, I forgot. I don't know, I think I did it. I think I did add brown to this in the background. But I don't know, pretty fun. And if you don't know what this paper is, it's, you know, someone might be watching this for the first time. I haven't used it in a few weeks, but this comes in 11 by 17, and it's a wood-grained, like, placemat, like food placemat, like a disposable placemat paper. So it's gone up in price lately, but it's still like, I don't know, a pack of, what was it, 50 or something like that? It was like, I don't know how much it was, but it, you know, it's 11 by 17, so it's like getting 2 pieces of paper. And really cheap, you know, but what you do is you just mount this on something. You don't want to send out a card like this, you know, it's like, you know, it's too flimsy, it's disposable paper, but, you know, you mount it anyway. Usually our cards are mounted on something, so it's really fun stuff to work with, and kind of creates a little bit more of a dynamic foundation than, like I said, than with white paper. White paper is more versatile, but if you want to just do something kind of minimal but still really cool, it's a good texture to put scenes on. All right, so let's see. I have to start using all my stuff I don't use. It's time. It's time to dip in, Megan. Go into that. That media stash. Time to bust open those like brand new I don't know, whatever sets. It's a lot of our stuff isn't even like it's like not even like okay, I got to use that one blue whatever colored pencil or something. A lot of times it's like complete sets of things like I don't know. I had that other like full set of water. Oh yeah. Like the Derwent watercolor crayons or pencils, but okay, we're talking like probably, I don't know, 25, 30 years or something like that. And as you can see, untouched, So I should probably dip in. I don't know with this one. I think it was I think that got missorted, but that's like I think that was the black one. I was doing that with the Mystic series to give it that kind of that Chinese kind of ink painting look to it. So I need to find that black one somewhere around here and do that again. I want to do some of those types of looks there. That kind of that whatever, that Valley of the Mist or whatever look. But yeah, that would be cool. I think so. I was talking about that pastel. I think this one was also in my drawing thing. This is a Conte pencil right here. Okay, I was saying it looks kind of like charcoal, but not quite as waxy as a colored pencil, but not quite like a pastel either. It's somewhere in between drawing pencil. I barely used it. I wasn't really good at there's a lot of different things I wasn't good at in school, like brush work and things like that, and soft media, not really good. I was better at the hard media, like pens and like pen and ink, scratchboard type stuff, and I don't know, what can I say? All right, let me see here. Lots of supply. Black charcoal pencils would solve that messy problem. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, because this white one's like not messy at all. So I don't know. Some of those charcoal pencils though are really, really soft though too. They're just like practically like stick charcoal, because I remember using them in school. And you get all these people using charcoal, those like life drawing classes and stuff, and it couldn't have been good to be breathing all that in all the time. With everyone going like, you start doing like this, and then you kind of, everything, it's like you get building up all this charcoal on here, and it's like you're pushing around powder, and then people are always blowing it, to get, that buildup off of there. And we're probably breathing all that stuff in. All right. Untouched. Time to bust that out. It's the Untouched Media Untouched Supplies Challenge. We're gonna dip into our stuff and use something that we haven't used before, or maybe we've wanted to, but we just haven't gotten around to it. That's where my kind of a spirit of exploration started. It was my papers though. It was all the iridescent metallic papers that I had been collecting over the years that I was just using to mount scenes on, for the most part. Just a little bit of framing around my pieces, but I thought when I organize my papers too, is like, a stack of packs and packs of Star Dream papers, Pearl papers. There were not no, I might have had not holographics. There were other types though that I'd collected, and I thought, I got to start using some of this stuff, but I didn't, I just wasn't quite sure how to use it. Until I thought about those inks that will dry on it, the Brilliance and not the Stays On early, but I'm starting to utilize the Stays On now. So just as long as we have compatible media, why not, huh? But yeah. Okay, folks. Hope you have a great rest of evening. Thanks for joining in on this warm night. I don't know if it's cold anywhere for anyone. Everyone seems to be in heat everywhere. But we can escape to this, again, very mild 70-ish, 70s lake up at elevation. All right, good night, everyone.